The transport van crawled up the sloping road toward Trock Women's Correctional Facility just after dawn, its wheels spitting gravel like loose teeth. Inside, the air smelled faintly of damp wool and the metallic ting of nervous sweat. The women sat chained at the wrists and ankles, each absorbed in the ritual of silently preparing themselves for whatever waited on the other side of the steel gates. Among them sat Amina Clark, 29, slender, soft-spoken, and trying hard to keep her breathing steady. She kept her eyes on the window, watching the horizon shift from rural farmland to the severe geometry of razor wire fencing. The sun was just breaking through a haze that clung low to the ground, bathing everything in a suspended glow, as if time itself was holding its breath. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an incredible story like this one. Amina had never been in jail before, much less a state prison. Her hands trembled subtly, so subtly that no one else likely noticed, but she felt every quake in her bones. She focused on the passing scenery, anything to keep her thoughts from circling back to the stubber and truth echoing inside her chest. She wasn't going home today, and maybe not for a long time. When the van stopped and the doors opened, cool air spilled inside. Amina stepped out cautiously, the chains around her ankles clinking as she moved. The yard beyond the intake fence was already awake. Women in gray uniforms drifted across the grounds, guards patrolled with slow vigilance, and a low hum of morning conversations floated through the air. Inside intake, bright fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting everything in a washed-out pale. Amina moved through processing medical checks, fingerprints, mugshots. Clothing change, her old clothes sealed in a bag to be returned upon release, whenever that might be. When she received her prison uniform, she held it with a quiet resignation, feeling the last piece of her previous life slipping away. As she and the others were led to their housing units, she caught her first glimpse of the prison yard through a window. Her gaze paused on a tall, broad-shouldered woman leaning against a fence. Her stance was relaxed, but her eyes were sharp and unblinking. Something in the woman's expression sent a ripple through Amina's stomach. A guard noticed. "That's Darla Briggs," he muttered. "Stay clear." Amina didn't respond, but the warning dug itself deep inside her. Moments later, when Darla's eyes met hers through the window, the world seemed to still. Darla's lips twitched into a slow grin, interested, calculating, almost predatory. Amina quickly looked away. Inside Unit C, the noise was overwhelming at first. Doors clanged, radios murmured, women talked in sharp overlapping bursts. An officer handed Amina her cell assignment, upper tier, cell 214. Her cellmate was Rivera, a woman in her 40s with tight black curls and a cautious, penetrating stare. Rivera sized Amina up with practiced eyes, then told her to keep her stuff neat and stay aware. "Quiet doesn't mean safe in here," she warned gently. "Depends on who notices." At lunch, the cafeteria buzzed with voices. Amina followed Rivera to a table, isolating herself behind her tray of soup and rice. The room felt too loud, too bright. She caught several women watching her, whispering about the new girl. Rivera dismissed them with ease, but Amina felt every stare like a pinprick. Then a sudden outburst erupted on the far side of the room. Guards rushed in, and women backed away as Darla Briggs lifted another inmate by the collar as if she weighed nothing. Darla's voice cut through the cafeteria, deep, rough, commanding. When guards pulled her back, she scanned the room again. Her eyes found Amina. This time, Darla didn't smile. She simply stared, long and unblinking. Rivera leaned in. "She's noticed you twice today. That's not good." "I didn't do anything," Amina whispered. Rivera sighed. "Sometimes that's the problem." That afternoon, whispers followed Amina through the unit like shadows. "That's the one Darla talked to. Quiet little thing. Darla's got plans." She tried to ignore them, sweeping hallways as assigned, but the words clung to her like static. Even a warning muttered by a passing inmate, "Watch yourself," tightened something in her chest. That night, lying on her bunk, Amina stared at the ceiling and listened to the restless rhythms of the prison. Rivera read quietly on the lower bunk, offering the occasional grounded word. When Amina asked if tomorrow would be easier, Rivera paused. "It'll be clearer," she said softly. Understanding helps, even when the fear doesn't go away. The next morning brought more whispers. More stares. During breakfast, a folded note appeared on Amina's tray. Rivera's eyes narrowed instantly. "Don't open it." But Amina's curiosity and dread pushed past caution. She unfolded the note with trembling hands. For words stared back at her. "Meet me after yard." Amina felt her stomach drop. "You ignore it," Rivera insisted. "If you go, she sets the terms. But if I ignore her," Amina's voice shook. "You're letting fear decide. She's testing you, that's all." Yard time arrived with a heavy, expectant air. Darla watched from the weight benches, her posture relaxed but her eyes sharp. Amina tried to follow Rivera along the track, but halfway around, Darla stepped into their path. "You didn't come see me," Darla said evenly. I wasn't sure what you wanted," Amina managed. "You scared?" Darla asked. Amina didn't answer fast enough. Darla's smile said she already knew, but instead of striking panic into her, instead of pushing things further, Darla simply said, "Means you're paying attention." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "I'm not here to hurt you, not yet." She walked away as casually as she'd arrived, leaving the yard to exhale in her wake. Over the next few days, the tension didn't break, it evolved. Amina wasn't just being watched anymore, she was being studied. Darla's interest was constant, unsettling, and strangely restrained. Not violent, purposeful. Eventually, though, Amina realized something. She couldn't keep running from the woman. Fear only fed the dynamic, and she was too tired of being afraid. It happened on a warm afternoon under a sky streaked with soft clouds. Darla approached again, but this time, without smirking, without swaggering, without backup. Something in her posture was different. "Amina," Darla said simply. Rivera moved to intervene, but Amina gently touched her arm. "I've got it," she whispered. Rivera stopped. Darla studied Amina's face carefully. "You're walking like prey again." "I'm walking like someone who wants peace," Amina said softly. Those words made Darla pause. "Peace," she repeated. "And here, I didn't come here to fight. I just want to survive." Darla's jaw tightened. A flicker of something unguarded passed through her expression. For the first time, she looked unsure. "You think I'm after you," she said. "But really, I saw you come in shaking, and She hesitated, searching for the right words. "I don't like seeing that. I used to look like that." Amina blinked, surprised. "So this was curiosity?" she asked. Darla nodded once. "Testing, seeing if you'd fold, seeing if you'd let this place tell you who you are." "And did I fail?" Amina asked. Darla shook her head slowly. "Not today." For the first time, Darla extended a hand. Not as a threat, not as a power move. Just a truce, a bridge. Amina hesitated only a second before shaking it. Whispers later drifted through the prison. New girls stood up to Darla. Darla backed off. But Rivera corrected them. Darla didn't back down. She stepped aside. The fear that had gripped Amina since rival began to loosen. 2 days later, Darla approached her again casually this time. No tension, no theatrics, just a quiet conversation in the hallway. "You settling in?" she asked, trying to. Amina replied. Darla nodded thoughtfully. "You got a steady thing about you. Don't lose it." Amina smiled softly. "I won't." As Darla began to walk away, Amina asked, "Has this place changed you?" Darla stopped mid-step. "Yeah," she admitted. "But I'm working on it." Weeks passed. Amina grew more grounded, more sure of her place. She wasn't loud. She wasn't tough. She wasn't trying to become either. But she no longer walked like prey. She helped new inmates navigate their first days, offering a quiet nod or a gentle word, small gestures that meant everything when the walls felt too close. On a late afternoon, sitting beside Rivera on a warm bench under the soft gold of the setting sun, Amina looked across the yard and saw Darla working out alone. Her movements were no longer harsh or dominating, just steady, focused. A group of new inmates hovered nearby, nervous and uncertain. One girl met Amina's gaze, eyes wide with fear. Amina offered her a small, reassuring nod. The girl nodded back. And Amina realized something important. She had survived her first days not because she fought loud or hard, but because she stayed true to herself, even when fear tried to mold her into something else. She found a fragile, unexpected sense of belonging in a place built to break people. She found strength she didn't know she had, and maybe, just maybe, Darla had found a piece of herself too, a piece she'd forgotten she still carried. In a world of concrete and steel, where fear prowled just beneath the surface, Amina discovered something quietly powerful. Peace sometimes begins with standing gently but firmly in your own truth. And as the sun dipped behind the razor wire, she realized she was no longer just surviving, she was becoming whole again.